After I moved here, I began to see things no one else could see, and now they know I see them. I came to this town 2 weeks ago for a work assignment. The company I work for sent me here for 6 months, officially to oversee the process. In reality, I was just supposed to be a guy on the ground, present. The production facility was outside the city. It took a little over 30 minutes by bus to get there. A massive, closed-off complex, surrounded by a green zone, a buffer between it and the rest of the world. The town itself was off, gray. No crowds, no youth. The people were polite, but dulled. Calm in a way that felt almost unnatural, like a wax museum that never melted. I rented a room in a quiet private home. The landlady was tidy, quiet, and almost never asked questions. What struck me was that almost none of the locals worked at the factory. Everyone I met there was from somewhere else. They'd also been sent in, some for a month, some for a season. Locals stuck to renting out rooms, fixing things, running small stores. It was like they avoided contact with the plant, even though it clearly paid for most of the town. It felt odd, but I had no reason to ask questions. The pay stunned me, higher than I'd expected. At first I thought, I'll finish my 6 months, go home, and forget this place. But something about the rhythm pulled me in. Not the town. It felt cold, cardboard, unreal. But the rhythm of the factory. We worked in shifts. The schedule was strict but simple. Shift, sleep, canteen, shift. There was a strange calm to it. Time moved differently. Everyone kept busy. The kind of busy where no one makes eye contact. Where silence is part of the job. About a month before my term was up, I met the new floor supervisor. He'd just arrived. A real field commander type. Sharp, fast, no small talk. But he appreciated how I worked. Genuinely. One night after a shift, we stayed behind in the break room. Someone brought a bottle. We talked, and he said, "Stay longer. The guys are good. The money's better. I'll cover your shifts. We'll backdate the paperwork. If no one asks, no one knows." I laughed, but I didn't say no. The next day, I didn't go home. Technically, HR should have known I was done, but the system listed another 2 weeks for wrap-up. And in a place like this, with hundreds of temps, no one checks unless something goes wrong. So I stayed. Just a little longer, I thought. A month, maybe 2, until autumn. I didn't know that autumn wouldn't end. Not really. One day I caught a smell. Not smoke, not garbage. Raw meat. That first time, I was just walking down the street. I couldn't tell where it was coming from. Then I turned into the courtyard of an apartment block and saw a coffin. They were carrying it out. The smell was strongest there, and it felt like I was the only one who noticed. Once the coffin was gone, the smell vanished. Now and then, I caught it again. Always near something. An ambulance, a funeral van, the hospital gates. And then came the man on the bus. I didn't see him board. I was sitting by the exit, half asleep, when I felt a hand grab my shoulder. Cold, thin, bony, like a skeleton's. He wore a heavy antique ring. I tried to shout, "What are you doing? Let go." But nothing came out. I was frozen. He stared at me. No emotion, no words. The other passengers didn't react, didn't even blink. When the bus stopped, he stood up, stepped off, and walked down the street. Only when he turned the corner and disappeared between the unmoving figures ahead, I could breathe again. I could move. I told myself it was a one-off. Sleep deprivation. Something rational. But then it got worse. The next day I was in a minibus after a night shift, barely staying awake. Then I saw the car. It passed us quickly. And there, standing on its roof, was a woman. Completely naked. Skin pale, almost gray. Her hair was braided into a single long plait, long enough to drag across the trunk. She didn't move, didn't sway, didn't hold on, just stood there, like gravity didn't apply to her. No one reacted, except me. The car passed and vanished into traffic. I almost jumped out after it. A day later, I saw her again. On the news. Same car, same make. Crash. Everyone dead. After the crash, I stopped taking the minibuses. I started walking instead, even though the factory was far. An hour on foot, sometimes more. But I couldn't sit there anymore, surrounded by those faces that didn't blink, didn't shift, didn't even breathe properly. They looked like figures, like something had already taken them, and their bodies hadn't gotten the message yet. I tried talking to someone about it. An engineer. We'd worked in the same section since day one. Good guy. Down to earth. A dry sense of humor. No drama. When I told him about what I'd seen, he just stood there, silent at first, and then he said, quietly, "Don't look," and walked away. The next week, he was gone. Just gone. Someone else was listed in his spot. I asked our shift supervisor. His term was up, he said, but the guy told me himself he'd be staying until October. It was only August. I went to check HR. They couldn't find him. Not in the logs, not in the system. Like he'd never been there at all. That's when I started to get it. The ones who see, they don't last long. The ones who stay quiet, stay longer. Much longer. One evening, I passed the factory gates. I wasn't working that day, just walking. There was a service bus parked by the entrance. Empty. Except it wasn't. Someone was sitting inside, alone. I couldn't see the face, just a silhouette. I stepped closer, and then I saw him. The man from the bus, the one with the cold hand. He was sitting completely still, like a wax figure. And then, he looked right at me. The bus doors were closed, but I heard it clearly. A voice. "You're here now." And the streetlights flickered off. I woke up in my room. I couldn't tell if it had been a dream or something else entirely. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to see the one person I trusted, the same supervisor who'd once asked me to stay. He listened, didn't interrupt, just waited until I was done, then asked, "How long have you been here?" I had to think. Well, 3 months past my term, plus the 6, about 9. He nodded. "Go to the infirmary." I already called. The doctor was old but agile. Firm hands, sharp eyes. He spent a long time checking my lungs, my pupils, my pulse. Then he sighed. "You should have been discharged. Your contract ended. Everything you did past that, you weren't supposed to be on the schedule." I didn't get to reply. He was already on the phone. "Bring a car, immediately." 10 minutes later, it arrived. Black, unmarked. They didn't say a word. Just put me inside and drove. We went far, out of town, and then farther still. It was a clinic, not a psych ward exactly, but something in between. Private, guarded, barbed wire, steel doors. There they explained it all. Hallucinations, vapor exposure, toxic accumulation, delayed effect, no lasting damage, no permanent condition, just rehabilitation. They kept me there for 3 months. During that time, I saw nothing strange, but I was warned, strictly, not to mention what I'd seen. They told me if I started spreading delusions among the others, they'd transfer me to a dedicated facility. I agreed to everything. I just wanted out. When I was released, I went home. I never tried contacting anyone from the factory again. There were no smells, no stares on public transport. The streets looked normal. Sleep came easily, but I still don't know. What happened? What did I really see? Was it real? Or just part of what they remove from you once you stay too long? I still don't know if there's something wrong with that town, or with me.